Hi everyone. Welcome to Secrets Behind the Stars. All the details are in our video, so settle in and turn up the volume. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share this video with your friends who live for behind-the-scenes scoop. Thank you for being here with us tonight. Now let's get into it, because a single candid remark has sent ripples through the industry. In a recent interview, Cemre Baysel opened a window into the set life that fans rarely see, and what she revealed has the entire gossip world whispering. According to Cemre, the luminous Mahassine has been dropping by the set to visit her longtime friend and colleague, Cenk. Yes, you heard that right. Mahassine stepping onto Cenk's turf, not once, not twice, but regularly enough to become a quiet ritual that people on the crew recognize the second that familiar smile appears at the studio gates. Cemre's voice carried that mix of excitement and respect that tells you she's seen something special. She described how those visits felt like a soft breeze in the rush of production days, how the energy in every corner of the studio shifted the moment Mahassine walked in. It wasn't a grand entrance. It never needed to be. It was the warmth, the eye contact, the way she greeted everyone by name, and then the way she and Cenk would steal a few minutes to catch up, leaning against a doorway or sitting on a flight case as the lights reset and the cameras cooled. The set, usually a machinery of schedules and takes, would suddenly glow with a bit of human wonder. What makes this revelation so compelling is the way Cemre framed it. She didn't paint a sterile workplace divided by call sheets and walkie-talkies. She talked about the set like a second home, a place where bonds are strengthened through long nights and early mornings, where conversations in the makeup chair turn into the kind of friendships that outlast the most watched scenes. And within that softer portrait, Mahassine's presence was like a heartbeat. According to Cemre, calling her Mahassine Abla felt natural, as if the years had woven a quiet mentorship into their interactions. When she arrived, it wasn't just to say hello to Cenk, it was to elevate the mood, to remind everyone why they fell in love with this craft in the first place. You can picture it, Cenk taking a seat after a high-stakes scene, the director conferring with the DP, and then, through the hum of cables and clapperboards, that unmistakable laughter. Mahassine's laughter. Familiar, elegant, unforced. It would break the tension, and suddenly Cenk's shoulders would drop, his face relax, and he'd grin with that look we've all seen on screen but rarely catch off it. Cemre swears those moments, brief as they were, became a lifeline in the grind of production. The crew noticed. The younger actors noticed. Everyone noticed. And of course, as soon as the story slipped into the wild, the rumor mill began to spin like it always does. Are they planning something new together? A series reunion? A film that brings their chemistry to the big screen? Fans started piecing together clues, replaying old interviews, analyzing how often their paths have crossed over the years. The possibility of a fresh collaboration took on the glow of inevitability in the comments, feeds, and fan edits that bloomed overnight. After all, when a star like Mahassine goes out of her way to show up for Cenk, you can't blame anyone for dreaming bigger than a friendly visit. But Cemre drew a clear, bright line that only made the story more enchanting. She underlined that what she witnessed was pure, honest support between two artists who go way back, a connection rooted in respect. Platonic, powerful, and profoundly uplifting. She stressed that the magic on set doesn't just come from rehearsals and retakes. It comes from genuine ties that can't be scripted. And when you understand that, you understand why the scenes you watch feel so alive. Let's set the scene more precisely. Cemre talked about the rhythm of those days. The way a coffee break turned into a gentle pep talk when Mahassine came through, the way a short conversation with Cenk became a small beacon in a week of marathon shoots. They would slip into a corner of the set, not to hide, but to find a moment of quiet in the noise. They would talk about the old days, about new scripts swirling around town, about a director's unconventional approach or a scene that wouldn't quite land until the camera found a certain angle. There was a shorthand there, the kind that only grows between people who've stood under hot lights together and still walked off smiling. Cemre doesn't toss around the word unforgettable lightly. She said those visits felt like short masterclasses disguised as friendly check-ins. For the younger cast members, Just seeing Mahassine close enough to ask a question about pacing, presence, or finding nuance in a look was like being granted a backstage pass to wisdom. And Cenk, confident, poised, meticulous Cenk, seemed to shine even brighter afterward, as if someone had recalibrated the compass inside him back to true north. It wasn't just about him, though. The whole team vibed higher. The tone softened. The set ran smoother. Even the mistakes felt less catastrophic and more like stepping stones. Let's talk about the fandom reaction, because it came in hot. The moment Cemre's words hit the air, social platforms went electric. People posted their favorite memories of Cenk and Mahassine from past appearances, stitched together moments where they'd crossed paths, and wrote heartfelt notes about how rare it is to witness a friendship like this in an industry rumored to thrive on rivalry. Some swore a new project was imminent, reading into smiles and glances like fortune tellers. Others just celebrated the bond itself, calling it a blueprint for how artists can lift one another up. And yet, through all the speculation, that insistence remained: this is friendship, full stop, and it is beautiful. It is the kind of friendship that allows two stars to stand side by side without overshadowing one another. It is the kind that says, I see you, I know the road you're on, and I'm here to remind you why you started. Cemre insisted that this is the root of the energy you feel when the cameras finally roll. It's not a trick of the light. It's not a clever edit. It's the trace of something deeply real that clings to the work long after the lights go down. Speaking of real, we heard whispers from crew members that back up everything Cemre shared. They noted how easily Mahassine fit into the rhythm of the set without interrupting it, how she carried professionalism like a second skin but never forgot to be human first. She would stand by the monitors for a moment, exchange a few words with the director, tickle a joke out of a sound tech who'd been frowning at a stubborn mic, and then melt away before anyone could call it a distraction. It wasn't about taking up space, it was about easing it. And if that isn't star power, what is? We have to acknowledge something else here too, the legacy of both careers. Cenk is the kind of actor whose name comes with a promise of depth, a man who can turn a quiet beat into a pivotal moment. Mahassine is a study in elegance and range, a presence that hums even when she's not in the center of the frame. Their reputations precede them, but their respect for one another feels even bigger than their resumes. Cemre's account doesn't just confirm a friendship. It confirms that this friendship lives beyond the set, beyond the daily grind, beyond the constant noise of the press cycle. In the wake of the interview, editors and columnists rushed to weigh in, but the tone this time felt different, kinder. People kept pointing out how refreshing it was to see camaraderie headline the story instead of conflict. Cemre's words challenged the tired old script that says fame thrives on feuds. Instead, she offered a counterplot where mutual support is the twist that keeps audiences coming back. You can almost hear viewers exhale with relief, because who doesn't want to believe their favorites have each other's backs? Of course, we also have to talk about the tantalizing possibilities those visits imply without promising. A project could happen. A conversation could become a phone call becomes a meeting, and suddenly an announcement drops and the world erupts. Cemre didn't feed that fire directly, but she didn't douse it either. She focused on the present tense, on the reality of what she saw, an experienced star stepping into a familiar space, lighting it up, and leaving everyone better than she found them. If that leads somewhere, it leads somewhere. If it doesn't, the story remains more than enough. As for Cemre herself, the sincerity in her voice made fans rally to her side too. She spoke like someone who understands the cost of long days and the miracle of a good mentor. She admitted that seeing Cenk and Mahassine together, relaxed and real, felt like a privilege. She said that watching veterans swap memories and advice created a ripple effect that everyone on set could feel. She claimed those brief moments changed the temperature of the room, less pressure, more purpose. And when you look at her performances lately, you can't help but wonder if a little of that grace rubbed off. From what we've gathered, those conversations between Cenk and Mahassine were never about gossip or quick wins. They wandered into bigger questions. What are audiences hungry for now? Where is the industry headed? How do you protect your joy in a business that eats time and attention for breakfast? Answers didn't always come packaged in neat lines, but the act of asking together seemed to steady them both. That's the thing about support, it doesn't always solve problems, sometimes it just gives you a better way to carry them. By now, the headlines have done their dance, and yet the image that lingers isn't a splashy reveal or a dramatic twist. It's a small, quiet picture. Cenk squeezing a stress ball between takes, a script folded in his lap, and then Mahassine slipping into view with a tiny wave only he sees. She leans in, says a few words, and the crease between his brows dissolves. He straightens up, nods, and returns to set like he just remembered the ending to a story he's been trying to tell. That's not scandal. That's art meeting kindness. Let's not forget how essential this is for everyone watching from the outside. Fans often get the myth and miss the maintenance. They see premieres, not the pauses between them. Cemre's confession of these visits was like a hand pulling back the curtain, not to expose, but to illuminate. It told us that the scenes we love are often built on invisible acts of care. When you know that, you start to read the work differently. You sense the lineage of friendship embedded in a look, a sigh, a lingering shot. So where does this leave us? With a story that thrives on balance. With applause for Cemre Baysel, who bravely shared a sliver of something true. With admiration for Mahassine, whose presence turns tension into poise. With renewed respect for Cenk, who receives support with humility and turns it into fuel. And with a community of viewers who now feel a little closer to the beating heart of the work they adore. If you're wondering whether the door is open for a future collaboration, you're not alone. It's hard to imagine that a bond this strong wouldn't eventually write itself into a script. But even if it doesn't, the story has already given us something rare, proof that solidarity is not a myth, that generosity still finds its way into the hardest days, and that friendship can be just as headline-worthy as any scandal if we're willing to look for it. Cemre wrapped her thoughts on a note that echoes even now. She said that seeing veterans stand together reminds the rest of the team that they're part of something bigger than a single season or a single role. It reminds everyone that the craft survives because artists carry each other through the difficult parts. That's the secret spark fans feel without knowing why. That's the warmth that slips through the frame and into our living rooms. And tonight, thanks to one simple, heartfelt revelation, we all get to feel it a little more clearly. This brings us to the end of our video. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to Secrets Behind the Stars, turn on notifications, and share this video with someone who needs a reminder that real friendships still shine in this industry. Until next time, take care and keep your eyes on the stars. Goodbye.